as you can see, I ran into a few issues today when I was working on equipping a sword. So didn't get as much as I would have liked to have gotten done, but I did figure out a lot of stuff. So basically the way I had my model set up in Blender was not quite right. So when I export and when I go to the root node or the root bone on the skeleton, you can see it's scaled to 100. And what that means is when I attach the sword, we can use the one on the back that's being previewed here. If I set the scale just to 1 as it should be, it's it's 100 times the size that it should be. So to fix this, there are a few things that I needed to do in Blender, and I'll put a link in the description to the video I found to sort all of these things. But the main things were setting the unit scale to 0.01, although that then means my character is tiny. So when I first did that, the dimensions here were 100 times smaller than they should be. So I then had to select the character and the armature, scale those up by 100, but then when you select them, the scale will now be 100 here, which is still not quite what we want. We need the scale to be 1 like it is here. So to do that, you just have to apply the scale. So you select the object that you want to apply the scale to. If I can remember the keybind, I think it's Ctrl+A. Yeah, Ctrl+A to apply, and then apply the scale. And then it will go from being scaled up to 100 to setting that as the applied scale, so it goes back to 1. And the same for the armature here. So this means that he's back to the correct size. He's pretty small, but definitely shouldn't be part of a centimeter. So yeah, so once the unit scale is set correctly, that means when we export into Unreal Engine, the root node will then be scaled at 1 instead of 100, and then anything that we attach to this character won't need to be scaled down because it's not being multiplied by 100. It's being multiplied by 1 instead. So I'm just trying to think if there was anything else, and I'll put all of this in the description with a list of the steps to follow to get a successful export from Blender into Unreal Engine. But basically, yeah, once you've set the units up, applied the scale, then it's mainly just about making sure the export settings are correct. So I've made a preset here now. You need to select the objects that you want to export and check this. Check selected objects here. And then in transform, I want X forward, Z up, apply unit so that it applies this, and then I need to untick use space transform because that seems to make it so that the rotation isn't applied. I'm not entirely sure, it's something to do with the scenes transform, I'm not sure, but it needs to be unchecked, otherwise it won't actually change it to be X forward. And disable add leaf bones because they are just unnecessary in Unreal. So I'm still using this, the original one with the where the scaling is wrong, because I've tried a couple of times to replace this and yeah, I can't figure out how to make the retargeting work. I think it's going to be a lot more effort than it's worth than just, in this instance, scaling down the sword. So just taking the sockets that I add, scaling them down so that it's scaling the 100 down to 1. Same for the hand. And yeah, it's not ideal, but this is going to be a lot more work than, or this is going to be a lot less work than trying to re-import everything. Now that I know how to do it, I will do it the correct way for the next character that I make. And this is just kind of a test character, so it's not really worth spending too much time to recreate all of the animation, blueprint, etc. Yep, that's about it. So I didn't really get that much done. I did want to make a attack animation and also have it so that so when he's running with his sword out, I need to use a different animation. So I'll probably add some sort of bool to the character blueprint for his wielding sword, and then I'll check that in the animation blueprint, and maybe instead of making a new animation, I'll just set it to this, so he'll run quickly like this with the sword, which is good enough for now. But otherwise, all the other animations with the sword are okay. I don't want to spend too much time changing everything because I'm just trying to get the pipeline down. It's not really about things being perfect at this point. Yeah, so I think next up is trying to make a animation for the attack and fixing the run animation when he's wielding his sword. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with this.